Okay. I'd like to welcome everyone to the June 20th, 2023 regular Police Commission meeting. I guess we'll call it 7:02. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Go ahead and start us,
Pledge
George.
allegiance to the
flag
of
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's say amen. So, starting out, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda that we have in front of us?
We have two that we'd like to add.
Okay,
First one is removal of the probationary status of Officer Tyler Blackman, effectively backdating to June 6th.
time. Motion to add the removal of Blackman from probation.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a second. Another one.
The second action item, approval to establish an eligibility list for clerk dispatcher.
I have a motion on that.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jessica, I assume you'll put them in the right order. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we have an agenda. Next, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 16th, 2023 regular Police Commission meeting?
Motion to approve. Oh, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Quick. So the action items are the two additions, correct? So, Chief, can you give us a little spiel on Officer Blackman?
He was hired by our department June 6, 2022. He completed his probationary final ride with Lieutenant Brozak, he wrote a report about for the year for him. Great reviews, well-liked in the department, hard worker, intelligent, takes upon himself to do continuing education. We're all very happy with him, a good hire. So we're requesting the commission to remove him off of probationary status effectively June 6th. Backdated.
Any discussion? Up here. Eric, Joe,
No, sir.
Scott?
I've had good interactions with Officer Blackman, so I think he'd be, continue to be a great asset to our department.
I assume, Ken, that you're in alignment with this?
I am. Shows some self-initiative activities that is benefiting the department as a whole, and he's a good asset.
It's always good when you have a good feeling of the people you bring on. Can I have a motion to remove?
Motion to remove Officer Blackman from probationary status.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He is now no longer a probationary employee. Can you give us a little background on the second action item?
Approval to establish an eligibility list for clerk dispatcher. We had a dispatcher that resigned this morning.
Get a little closer.
We had one of our dispatchers resigned this morning, and that created a vacancy, and we're asking to establish an eligibility list.
Okay. which is kind of our standard operating procedure. You've talked to Derek.
Yes, and he's in agreement.
Any comments from the commission?
No, I mean, we've got the head count. It's going to take a while to make this happen, so let's get the process rolling.
It's important because having one less clerk dispatcher could affect other positions within the department over time, even the Records Bureau. We just would like to fill this as soon as we can in a nice, methodical process.
Especially with summer with the new shift pattern. So let's move.
Scott, any comments?
No, I think we need to.
Joey?
Jess, do you want me to write it up for Brian, or do you want to write it up, send it to me, and then I'll give it to the board? How would you like that done for the action item we're going to have to do? You
I
don't
can
have to
do-
go through the board for hiring? What do you guys, what's your pleasure on that?
We can write it up and then we can send it to you and you can translate it how you wish and then take it to the board.
No, I'm saying, do you think, did Eric say that the board has to approve a hiring position?
For technical hiring, yeah, we're just.
We're just establishing the eligibility list, and then from that point, if you want to hire off the list, and that's where the board comes in there. So doing interviews, all that, just to establish the list.
Okay,
Not to
previous
actually-
though,
we're
we've
not
always
hiring
gone
right
out
now. Correct.
to the board to request to establish list, but that's fine. This is fine. Let's just do it this way. Start the list, do whatever you got to do, and then go through your process. And then when the process ends, then you turn it over to me, and then I'll take it to the board.
Thank you.
Is that good?
Yep.
Yeah, I think we treat this as a standard replacement, right? There's
Yeah.
no head count issues and.
That's fine.
No other action items, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do we need a motion to do this and then?
Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
I move that we create an eligibility list for clerk dispatch.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We will get back with you, gentlemen, on the process and times and dates when that time comes.
Just, do we have anybody that was left in the process from last time? I think we hired the. top
We'll have to
candidates
check.
already.
We'll have to check that up and see how long the list was. Yeah, it's been past a year, I believe, so
Okay.
we'll double check though.
Last hire was over a year ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
So might not be a bad idea to,
It was actually over a year ago.
if it's over a year, it's not a
And
bad
when
idea.
we established the list where we did the background process,
To go back out
all the-
for.
then we hired, and then it's been a year, so it's been well over a
yeah.
year.
Usually when you go over a year, it's usually you receive applications then. Whatever you want.
Any other questions? Okay.
So, any department updates, discussion items that aren't listed here?
Just a couple brief updates. At the last commission meeting, we'd mentioned about that the board had granted us some funds to do capital improvements. You guys recall that at the last meeting? So we have two of them done. The front parking lot, the cement work has been completed, looks great. And then our front sign to the police department has been repaired. It looks much better than it was. It's not falling down. We still have additional ones that the fire department has some, and we have one more, but the fuel tanks in the back, that's going to be a long process to get that one. That won't be done quickly. But Rain's the contract engineers handling that. Island Fest went real well. We had a budgeted, and then we came a third under budget on our Island Fest. That's always a good sign for the overtime, and we had donations for food, so we were able to get some donations put together for that. With Mr. Porcerelli, the board approved us to get a new patrol car, which the bid on that actually came under budget for what we had budgeted. So there's a little bit of a savings there. And then I'd like to talk about at the last
Chief, what vehicles are we using now?
Ford Explorer, Police Interceptor. That's gonna be our standard one. We're almost through the Chargers. I think we have 4 left. One's about to be decommissioned. We're gonna take it to emergency vehicle operations class, And then after that, we're going to decommission it. That's not easy on vehicles. That class is not easy at all, but that's our oldest one in the fleet. We have, now I think it leaves us, is that 3 Chargers left after that, after 5?
I think there's 2 chickens.
2 and 7 and 4. But we'll have a couple of Chargers left that are going to timeout, and then we're decommissioning 16.3, which is a 2014 Ford Expedition that this car's replacing. So this purchase will replace that one. So, any other questions on that? Or? Yep. And then the last thing I want to talk about is at the last board meeting, Officer Dalpiez, I don't know if you remember a year ago, she did a presentation about the Groseal Safe Key. So this is what it is right here, and if you go to the township board meeting, she does another about 7 or 8 minute presentation on the Groseal Safe Key. It's a free volunteer program provided by the township. It's free to the residents. We pay for it. And then about a year ago or a year and a half ago, we created this mailer that we mailed out to the residents. It also talks about Code Red and our Facebook page and some of the other items like 911 text. And then because of this mailer, we saw a large increase in the amount of residents that voluntarily joined Groseal Safe Key. It's a way for residents to list their medical conditions or key codes or emergency contacts. Gives us the ability to contact residents or people that if there's an emergency who we can contact on their behalf to render aid in medical crisis. It's free. This information is not sold. It is not released. We own the rights for Officer Dalpiez registered or trademarked Groseal Safe Key, this right here. And then if you look at the bottom there, there's the website and how to join. You just fill out the sheet, and then it gives us information. The fire department, we're going to make some smaller cards. And the fire department will also hand them out also, and then we're going to redo the mailer. I think that's a great thing for the, it's a bit expensive. It's not expensive, but it's just going to take us some time to get these printed up and get them mailed, and then that should be in about a month or so, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. We'll mail them out, and we have about 200 and probably a little bit shy of 250 households that have joined this now. I think that's right, and don't quote me on that. I apologize if I'm off, but if we can get it even higher, it just gives the fire department and officers an availability to have information for a house if there is an emergency within that we can't get in. So, any questions on that? And then we had a donation of the last one. Small was we had a donation of a person donated money to have a coyote for an education tool. We had a deceased coyote that was taxidermy. Now it's an education tool at the animal shelter. So people can actually see what a coyote looks like. All paid for by donations, no taxpayer money. And it's kind of a neat education tool. Any questions on the updates?
Coyote sightings seem to have gone down.
They're still out here. You got to watch
I
your
know,
dogs
but
and your
I mean-
pets, that's for sure. But they're not what I believe they used to be. So I don't have a count on it though. All right, any questions? So we'll try to get this out in the next week.
What about
next month or two?
Joey, Doug, the email that went out from the State of Michigan Assessment of Departments, where the Groseal ranked?
On the safest cities, are you talking about that? What there was
Yeah.
that was a couple polls based on numbers. I think there was 3 websites out of the top. We're in the top 10, and 3 different websites. One were number 1. I found online. I believe number 4 and number 6.
Yeah, there was a 7, 4, and 1. So depending on, I'm not real sure, Doug, the criteria used. I mean, I know when I looked at the FBI statistics, they show, how many per 1,000 people on Groseal, and then how many of the 7 dangerous crimes or the more serious crimes. And then they have the 10,000 and below for population. Then they have, so I'm not quite sure on these others that I could not find what their criteria was, but it's still good.
One, I
It's
believe,
still excellent.
One I believe was based on real estate and crime, real estate and crime rates, and it was put out by a real estate.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so
yeah.
and then, but part of that class I'm involved in, we had to do a micro analysis of ourselves and neighboring communities. So I had to delve into our micro reports, and that's our crime reporting. It goes to the FBI, and we are definitely lower, and we have a higher resolution rate for cases being closed than a lot of other cities. which goes to our DB, and Ken runs a DB, and it goes to a lot of that factors, so. Any questions?
Very good.
Gentlemen?
Evening, gentlemen. Just a few items to point out with the monthly report. 987 calls for service, 92 of which were 911 related. Officers issued 37 traffic citations and 101 verbal warnings total for the month. They did effect 3 arrests for operating while intoxicated. They put on 14,000 miles during the course of May patrolling, and a variety of training. One of the things that's absent from the report is all of our officers attended firearms qualifications. So we used Rockwood's outdoor range free of charge to us. Officers qualified with their sidearms and also used rifles and shotguns. So they received all that training. In addition to that, there was focus on impaired driving investigation resources, and then our Downriver Mutual Aid standard training for SWAT, crisis negotiation team, and dive team training. I will point out that Detective Darzniak completed his drone certification. He's the first in our department to receive such certification. It's a rigorous testing process that he had to go through. Very proud of that accomplishment, and I know he's relieved to have that done and behind him. And he has now certified our drones, so we're up to speed with being able to put those up in the air properly and legally. Staying on point with the Detective Bureau, they were assigned 16 cases during the course of the month, and as the chief noted that we do have a high resolution rate, they cleared 13 of those. A couple of them are still under investigation. They did resolve 2 cases involving juveniles and threatening behavior. The animal control officer fielded 59 animal complaints during the month of May. Our SWAT and crisis negotiation teams were activated twice. One was for an arrest and search warrant in the city of Ecorse, turned into a barricade situation for about 3 or 4 hours. Safe resolution, got the guy to surrender without incident. And then the other one is we assisted the Melvindale Police Department with a search warrant in the city of Lincoln Park, looking for evidence of a homicide that occurred in Melvindale. We submitted a grant application to assist with the purchase of bulletproof vests recently. Hopefully that gets approved from the Department of Justice. And you may notice 16 Marine is out on the water in full force. We're trying to schedule between 15 and 20 Marine patrols each month of June, July, and August. And it's good because not only is all the overtime that is encumbered by those details covered by a grant, it also exposes our officers to Marine operations. We have 3 dedicated captains that are responsible for training and exposing our other officers to operating our vessel in case of an emergency, so they're prepared. That goes hand in hand with we're working with the Border Patrol. They're going to provide some additional training to our captains, provide them with some tactical pre-op plans and post-op overview to make sure that they're always receiving continuing education. The reserves, Captain Price was unable to make it. He has a work commitment today, so I'm going to give his report. They worked 37.5 hours during the month of May, primarily for 3 different events. They assisted us in the morning of a bike to school event, monitoring the larger or the busier roadways, make sure the kids were able to cross safely. They assisted with a SWAT training scenario that was held here at Township Hall, and then they assisted with the Memorial Day run. So again, 37.5 hours. They also welcomed Jacob Tremblay to their unit. His first day as a reserve, he worked a detail. So he's eager to participate with his team, and we welcome him aboard. Any questions about the monthly stats? Or
Yep, quick ones. The one in the juvenile report, there was the disruptive student, case 23-2122. We turned it over to Wayne County prosecutors recommending charges be filed. Did they go forward with that?
they don't, with juvenile cases, it's very rare that we receive a an approval or disapproved warrant recommendation returned to us. Once a juvenile is introduced to the circuit court, it's resolved by them, and we typically don't get involved unless we're needed as witnesses.
And you mentioned the DUIs and that, and training for operating while impaired.
Yes.
I know there was a lot of discussion when marijuana was legalized. Have we had that many?
No, to be quite honest with you, I'm surprised, because I'm a big proponent of enforcing the OWI laws. A majority of our cases do not involve marijuana. Last month we had one where the individual flipped his car at Meridian and Grosio Parkway. He was taken to the hospital for a blood draw, and his blood returned methamphetamine and marijuana. I don't know if marijuana was actually a contributing cause to that, to his impairment, but the meth was. But we do not get a lot of operating while under the influence of marijuana.
All right, anyone have any questions for Ken?
No.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Joe, liaison report?
Just a couple of things. We had a meeting with Wayne County, and this obviously pertains to the police, fire, and everybody that lives on Grosseal. I'm going to let Mr. Budney at the July 13th meeting go over what the county program is with fixing the bridge, repairing it, and what their schedule is. They came out with an approximate schedule, and it's obviously going to be a few years from now when everything is done. So I'm going to let him talk about that. But the second thing is that what I was working on is we tried to get everything we possibly could do for the longevity of the bridge when it came to the police department. And two of the things that I came up with, one was for Chief Carmack to look into our own motor carrier division. And we did look into that, and the cost of everything was so great, it just didn't suit what we were looking for at this time right now. Not that it won't be in the future, we won't look again, but to get a program going, to get people trained, the cost, you need a larger vehicle, you need the scales, you need other things, and it just wasn't cost effective. And as you know now, we are going through a budget issue, and we're all working on that together. So that was one issue that won't be working out. The second one was the speed limit on the bridge. I asked and petitioned the county for it to be lowered. They denied me, and they gave me in writing the two areas that they denied me on. And I don't know how to say this nicely, but they were incorrect. All the years that I've been working, and I went and got, I know the law, I know the procedure, I've done it as the police chief, and they just weren't correct. I went and got three other expert witnesses. One is a bridge engineer, one is a bridge builder, and one is a civil engineer owning his own company in downriver. And none of them have ever heard of the reasonings that they gave me, and neither have I. And, my expertise is just in accident reconstruction with an emphasis in truck reconstruction accidents. And I do know about force, weight, braking, and so on and so forth. And I met with the head of the DPS, as a matter of fact, this morning. And he said that he definitely is not sure where this came from. They're going to review it. He's going to look into this, and I gave him all the support. And I'm not sure how they can say no to this. So we're still, no offense to the county, I just wouldn't accept no. I'm sorry, I just wouldn't accept no. We're doing this for the people of Grosseal and for the county. They want their bridge to last. We want our bridge to last. And I don't want to inconvenience the people any more than they've already been inconvenienced, and they will be inconvenienced through this next repair. So we're trying to do everything we possibly can, and that also included, I know this is not so much coming, for the police department, but we had our own engineer, and he came up with 8 different areas that the county should be doing for longevity of that bridge, and we address those. So we're trying to do everything we possibly can. It's a slow ride, I get it. I've been working on this for I don't know how many months now. Doug, I talked to you probably 4 months ago on this. But you know, as I stated before, I have a saying. It's the same thing that I've been working with the Army Corps of Engineers. I'm not going away, you know, so I have that problem. I've been told no a lot. I don't have a problem with being told no. But when there really was no support and no legal basis for what occurred. So hopefully we'll be moving on. We'll be helping the people even more. And, but I'm going to let Mr. Budney on the 13th. We have a township board meeting. He's going to have all the information that the county came out with now about their scheduling, about their repair schedule, how, where, when. And I think, I just think he needs to put out, if not sooner, he may, to the people, maybe over Facebook, but I'm going to let him handle all of that. So we'll find out about that. So thank you, and that is it for tonight.
Thank you, Joey. Anyone have any questions? Eric, Scott? Public comment. We have a member of the public in the audience.
Do you have anything to tell us? Just come to see the show? All right.
And can I ask your name? Last name? Okay. Well, you are welcome at any meetings in this room. But you'll probably get tired of coming. Well, thank you for attending. Ken, you got anything?
No, sir.
Doug?
No, sir.
I didn't ask you this time. I was waiting. Okay. Motion to adjourn. Unless anyone from the commission has any
No, I'm
further
good.
questions.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.